Do you believe the Matrix is real? In this video, I'm going to be explaining why the Matrix is actually real, and not necessarily in the exact same way the movie is, but there is a lot of parallels that really are surprising once you start to think about them, just how many parallels to the movie there are and with real life. So today we're going to be talking in this episode about really what the Matrix in our world is. How that matrix is built up, what that system of control looks like, because really it is a system. We're going to be talking about the illusion of control that we all have within our lives. We're talking about the actual science behind this, the quantum physics, and the actual nature of reality. We're going to be talking about how to harness this power of creation that we can get from the science, and from understanding how our mind works, the subconscious mind. We're going to be learning how to redefine the narrative of what the control system is, and how to actually break free from that system of control, break free from that matrix, so that we can create our own lives, and so that we can create something better for ourselves and for all of humanity. So it's going to be a fantastic episode. You are listening to Self-Sabotage Solutions. I am the host, Tanner Dagenet. Very excited to be sharing this information with you. And let's just dive right on in. So really, what is the Matrix? If you haven't seen the movie, I think most people probably who are going to be watching this have seen the movie. But if you haven't seen the movie, the Matrix is where there is a whole world of people who are living inside of simulation, essentially. Essentially, it's like computer-generated simulation where everyone believes it's the real world. But the whole time it's actually just all just a simulation. Nothing is real, but it feels real. And that's where things get very interesting, because once you start to understand the science behind this through quantum physics, you start to realize that everything is made up of the same thing. Everything is just energy, and that nothing differentiates between me and you, between me and this computer screen, between me and the air I'm breathing, between me and this light that's coming down upon me, between me and the words coming out of my mouth. We're all made up of the exact same stuff, all made up of energy. And it's very, very interesting to think about, well, what does that mean? Does that mean, like, what differentiates between me and you? If in that case, is there a individual, or are we all collective consciousness? Is this stuff real, or is it all something that we are perceiving to be real? And that brings you to the whole point of spirituality. And we're going to be diving into a lot of this. We're going to be pretty deep. So very excited to be talking about this today. So really, what is the Matrix? Well, let's talk about that in the real life, and what this is my opinion of what the Matrix is. And I think probably many people are going to agree with me once you hear what I mean by it. So the Matrix is really a system of control. The system of control is meant to keep the matrix going. And this system of control is meant to keep us essentially slaves. It's meant to keep us, weakened. It's meant to keep us, make it so we don't achieve our full power. It's meant to keep us in a place of being docile, and to be unaware, to be just running on subconscious programs for most of our life. In a fear-based, confused, drugged up state where we really don't care consciously what's going on. We're just going to be doing as we're told, and we were not going to notice that everything that the system stands for is to be taking us down a notch, to keeping us from rising to our full potential, to keeping us from raising our frequency so that we can break free from the matrix. And just like in the Matrix, when someone tries to speak up against the Matrix takes over a subconscious individual, and that person attacks. I know you've probably likely groups of people attack that person for speaking up, and we see this being played out in real life. So really, what is the system of control? Well, this system of control is really everything, right? It is our healthcare system. They say that the healthcare system is there to keep you healthy. when in all reality, we have the highest rates of disease, depression, addiction, obesity, cancers. Even though we have the most technology, we have the most drugs, right? We have the most medicine in quotation, because is it really medicine? And I'm just going to say, I'm not a doctor, thankfully. So this is not medical advice. This is just my personal opinion and the opinion of many other people. Some of them are doctors. But what I want for you to do with this information is to start thinking more critically, to start becoming more aware, and to start thinking more logically, and to start asking yourself, is what Tanner's saying have any truth to it? Look at what's going on in this world and really consider, once you start to look at this world and be more consciously aware of it, I'm of the belief that there's no way you wouldn't see this is going on, because it's so obvious. Once you become so aware of it, it's so amazing to realize that, like, wow, I was in the Matrix. This world is nothing like I thought it was. This healthcare system is not what I believed it to be. This is not its main purpose. It's really meant to keep us weak, disempowered, diseased, obese, and we see perfect examples of it of the pharmaceutical system. The pharmaceutical system does not heal or does not, address the root cause of problems. All it does is act as a band-aid and addresses the symptoms of things. It addresses the symptoms of things, and then it adds on more symptoms for more medications to get added on. And it's a never-ending loop where we're going to start adding on a whole chemical cocktail of pills, and we're just taking pill after pill after pill of these medicines, of these essentially poisons is what they are, because they're not helping us and they are adding more ill effects to our body. And once you realize that we are electrical beings, that we have different chemicals in our bodies that we need balanced to be able to run efficiently, and that these chemical cocktails of pharmaceutical drugs are really messing with our hormones, really messing with our whole bodily function, then you'll realize that, hey, this is actually not about health. This is actually breaking down our health. This is actually keeping us disempowered. This is actually a way to suck our energy, to suck and pool our funds towards something that is really, I would say, it's, whether you want to say evil, darkness, whether you want to say it is from the matrix of control, to keep funding that, to keep it going. That's really what it is. It's funding that matrix of control. The healthcare system is, we saw it within the last 3 years. It was quite obvious once you start to look at it that it wasn't really anything about health. Look back on it, they didn't recommend you eat healthier. They didn't recommend you start to put make sure you're not putting in foods that are going to be weakening your immune system, weakening your body, making it so you have a harder time to stay healthy. They didn't ban the Doritos. They didn't ban the McDonald's. They didn't, ban the Chick-fil-A or the Domino's pizza. Instead, they made those things essential. They didn't ban and close the alcohol shops and the cigarettes and the marijuana shops. No, they made those things essential, while they started to close down gyms. So you can't go work out, but you're allowed to go shove your face full of a bunch of garbage and weaken your immune system. So you can't go and buy some healthy food because it's a small business, but you can go to like King Supers, or you can go to Costco and stand in line with thousands of people. So you can't go out walking in a park by yourself without a mask on, but you're allowed to go into a group of like 100 people during a protest without a mask on. You see where I'm going here? None of it really made sense, right? And then once you start to look at these injections that they were putting on people, and it happened started even before these 3 years, look at the ingredients in a lot of these injections, right? These injections, they have aluminum, they have formaldehyde, they have things like thimerosal. Thimerosal is a form of mercury, right? These things are all poisons. So the idea that you could just inject poisons into yourself and you could become healthier and your body could become better off is an amazing fallacy that, we have been programmed to believe that this is how it works. And it all goes with, being anti-nature. Really look at our healthcare system. It's anti-nature. It's anti-nature just in general. They don't want you to be using nature's herbal remedies. They don't want you to be building your health and focusing on building your health and using your natural immune system. They want you to use these injections to have their immune protection from them, that they say provides immune protection, which, I mean, there's no way it does. It actually weakens your immune system, especially right after you get those dose poisons into your system, right? So it's really backwards. You try to speak up about these things, when doctors try to speak up about this system of control, they get their medical license pulled out. They get called a quack. They get attacked. When other people try to attack about it, they get called names. They say they're killing grandma. They said that they don't care about other people, right? So this is what we see is the system, the matrix, the system of control that is the matrix, fighting back and protecting itself through the subconscious programming. Because when we're running on our subconscious program, because we're sick, we're diseased, we're high, we're drunk, we're highly caffeinated, we're in a fear state, our conscious mind's not running nearly as much as it should be. And instead, we're running off our subconscious programs. And they say about 90 to 95% of our daily thoughts and actions come from our subconscious mind. And really what that means is that we are running off the ideas, off of the beliefs, off of the things that other people say, that the things that society tell us to think, because your subconscious mind, and this is the part of the mind that is not logical, it's very primal. It is collecting 11 million pieces of data information per second, meaning that it is taking all this information in from your environment, from the TV shows you watch, from the teachers and parents and all the authority figures, from the government, from doctors. It's taking all this information in from movies, from songs, from books you read, from all these different sources, right? And it's analyzing what's the safest thing to do within this group of people, within this society. And with the way the society is set up, and we'll talk more about how it's set up, it is going to be leading us down our worst path, like I was talking about before, right? Because your subconscious mind can't tell the difference between good and bad. It just says, what is everyone else doing? Oh, that's what we're going to do as well. That's the best way to survive within this group. Otherwise, we're going to get ridiculed. Otherwise, we're going to get attacked. And that's what you see the matrix control do, is when someone acts different, they get attacked, right? So, you can think of it as like, perfect example is back in the Salem witch trials. They saw someone was different. They called them witches. And then everyone else was like, oh, you're a witch. And they burned these people at the stake. That's pretty similar to what's happening today, except people aren't getting burned at the stake. They're getting their lives ruined. They're getting their reputations ruined. They're getting their whole career taken from them. They're getting censored. They're getting banned off online. And it's really quite appalling that it's happening still today. Well, it's appalling, but it's not appalling at the same time once you start to realize that, hey, this is just the way the system works. And I don't want you to be scared of the system, to be in fear of the system, because that's really what they want. I want you to take this information as a way to empower yourself and to break free from that system of control, because that is how we're going to actually help other people. Once you're able to break free yourself, you can start to help other people wake up. And then it's like a snowball effect where more and more people are starting to wake up. And then that system of control just breaks eventually. And that's one thing I'm thankful for the last 3 years, is that so many people saw just how blatantly obvious it was that this was not about health, that this is not about keeping us safe. It was about control. It was about keeping that matrix system going. And that was amazing to see that people are waking up to that. It gives me a lot of hope and a lot of confidence that we are going to be breaking free from the system of control. I don't know when, but now it's really just a matter of time before it does happen, especially if people continue speaking up about this. And I don't see people, once they wake up, most people don't want to go back to the Matrix. Of course, there's always those people that will go back, just like in the movie The Matrix. And let's talk a little bit about that. There's three kinds of people who will are really in the matrix, right? There's the people who are aware of the matrix and are working and actively trying to break free. I guess you can say there's four people. There's people that are broken free from the matrix. There's people that have no idea that they're in the matrix or that the matrix even exists. They think it's just real life. And then you have people who are aware of everything that's going on, but they are choosing ignorance. They're choosing to go back into that system of control and to sell their souls and to give up their friends, their family for that illusion of freedom, for money, for power, for more control over the people. And they're willing to do that. We look at like politicians, we look at some doctors, we look at some scientists, we look at a lot of celebrities, sports stars, right? A lot of these people know just how screwed up our system is, and they're contributing to that system. They believe they can't change it, and that they're actually partially, they're probably blackmailed. They're probably scared to speak up, and we see examples of that. We see people getting killed from suicides, right? And there's a long list of suicides of people who are trying to speak up against the matrix. The thing is, they can't stop us all, so we all need to speak up. The more people that speak up, the better. And so let's continue talking about other ways the system of control is just there to control us, right? We talked about the healthcare system, right? It's more like a sick care system that's meant, like, think about it. The doctors only get paid when you're sick, at least in America. It's different in other places, but yet they're still pushing all these medications on you guys if you're not in America. And so you need to know that the doctors, while some of them may have good intentions and some of them may just be ignorant to what's going on, they are part of that system of control. They've been taught by the system. They've been taught to prescribe these medicines, not to address the root cause of the problem. And so that's why we have so much sickness, so much disease, so much addiction, because no one is actually addressing the root cause of the problem. And part of the problem is that we're just getting attacked on all ends from the system of control, and no one's talking about it. No one's aware of it. And so no one's protecting themselves. No one has their guards up. No one's saying no. Like in the Matrix, when Neo just says no, and he just stops the bullets, right? Imagine those bullets that the agents are shooting at you, like Agent Smith and them. Those are toxic food. Those are medications. Those are negative programming. Those are, all the different things, right? Name calling, all those things. You're just saying, no, I'm done with it. That's not me. I'm moving on. I'm creating my reality. And that's a powerful place to be. Once you realize that you have that power to say no, to say no more, to create your own reality, that's a powerful place to be. And we're going to be talking about that. But, where else are we getting control? Well, the whole system of control wouldn't work without the education system. And I know there's many teachers out there. And if you're listening to this and you are a teacher, I don't want you to feel offended. Just realize that the education system is part of that system of control. Really think about it. When, they say we're teaching us to think critically, but if you give an answer that's not part of the system, that's against the system, it's technically the right answer, you find an answer a different way than what the school system wants you to find it, you're incorrect. You can't think for yourself. You can't do what you want within the school system. You have to follow a rigid plan where not the same plan works for every kid. Not all kids need to learn the same things. Not all kids are going to be amazing at certain things, right? And so I'm a big believer that the school system is corrupt, and the school system is really not what it's not there for the reason many people think it's there. Like, I have a 1-year-old and I'm not putting him in the school system. I'll tell you that right now. I'm going to be homeschooling and unschooling him, which is really just him being able to choose what he wants to learn. Me showing him the way, giving all the resources he needs so that he can learn as much as possible. And I've seen many examples of this, and they learn so much quicker. They're very happy. They're enjoying their life so much more, and they're not programmed with all these negative programs. They're not programmed with all these drone bot worker bee programs that are going to keep us within the system of control. So think about this. Our school system teaches us from a very early age that we have to leave our family members, the people that we love the most in this world. We have to leave them for the majority of the day. We have to go spend it at a place that we don't really want to be, learning things that we don't really want to learn. We can't go stand up and go to the bathroom when we want. We have to ask for permission. We can't go do the things. We can't go outside when we want. If we're feeling like we really need to go outside, we can't go outside when we want. We have to sit inside indoors at the desk. We can't speak up when we want. We have to ask for permission to speak. We are there from 8 to 5, 9 to 5. It's breeding us to essentially go into the workforce where we'll work 9 to 5. We'll continue in that system control where we will be told what to do from our managers, from our bosses, and we'll be told what we can do when we can't do it. Think about it at work. I know I work in a call center. You have some freedoms to go to the bathroom when you want, but really you're in a very tight, strict control system, right? If you're not working when they tell you to work, you're gonna get in trouble, right? This is the way our system is created. This is the way our system flows. We're not taught how to create our own business. We're not taught how to break free from the system. We're not taught about the most powerful part of our mind, the subconscious mind, and how it actually relates to us living our life, to learning, to operating within this world. I'm a firm believer that when we're in high school, actually likely even before that, when we're in elementary school, we should be taught about this part of the mind, how it works, how it functions, how we're influenced through this part of the mind, and how we can protect ourselves. But we wouldn't be taught this information because that would start to break this down, the system of control. And the people who make the school systems, who write the programs for the schools, well, they wouldn't want that, so they don't write that into the program, right? And that's another thing. Teachers can't teach what they want. They're limited to what the program says they need to teach. And if they try to go out that, they oftentimes get let go. They get a talking to. They say you're going to lose your job. And there's all this red tape. And so you're not actually in control as a teacher. And I'm sure if the teachers are listening to this, I would love to hear your comments. Put a comment down below if you've experienced something like this, or if you disagree with me, I would like to hear it too. I'm a firm believer that the school system is there as a mind control device, as a way to make us slaves within the slave camp, to make us more stuck within the matrix, and to follow, essentially be cogs in the machine of the matrix, the system, right? And so that education system sets us up for everything, to follow authority, to do what you're told, right? It goes into the healthcare system. It goes into the government. It goes into the entertainment system. So really, I probably should have started with the school system, but we can go back to the healthcare system, right? Now, when a doctor tells you to do something, you listen. You don't have any second guessing that, hey, maybe he's not doing myself a favor by telling me to take this injection, by telling me to take this medication. He knows what he's doing. He had the schooling, right? But does he really know what he's doing? Do they really know anything about actual health? Or they just know information about prescribing medicine, about prescribing medicine with quotations on, because a lot of it's just really poison, right? And it's keeping us more disconnected and keeping us stuck more in that system of control. So then it goes down to the government, because where does a lot of this information, where does a lot of these systems get created? Within the government. And that in itself, you just look at all the corruption. I think most people nowadays know just how corrupt politics are in our government. We know the systems are rigged. We know that the elections are rigged. We saw in this last election, they've talked about in the election before that. And if you really think that our elections were not compromised even before that, then you're fooling yourself. It's obviously, very obviously corrupted in so many ways. I wish it wasn't the truth, but it really is. And then, does your vote really matter? Look at the people who are in control. Look at the people who are funding our schooling systems. Look at the people who are in charge of our health. These agencies like the the FDA and the CDC? Do you think they're really out for our best health as part of the healthcare system and part of the government? So the FDA, lets all these toxic chemicals, all these toxic products into our economy, into our society. You look at like Teflon, they say it's safe, but then it's been proven to cause cancer. DuPont, the company who produces Teflon, has had so many lawsuits against them. It's been proven that their product contains poisonous, cancerous things that's very harmful to our bodies. Yet Teflon is still being sold worldwide. You look at Roundup, glyphosate. You look at that very dangerous, I think it's a herbicide, that very dangerous herbicide that is just being sprayed on all wheat products. You look at your Cheerios, you look at your breads, you look at your beer. All these things are being sprayed in this glyphosate, meaning you are drinking and eating. And it's been proven that you have these things in your system because of it. It's in our water supplies a lot of the time. They add, and this stuff has been proven to lower your IQ, to break down your gut, and really affect your digestive system. And it's still being sold on the shelves. Doesn't matter that it's been proven. Really, things have to go to an extreme measure for them to be taken off the shelves. You look at back in the day, this thing has been taken off the shelves, is not being really used as much anymore. I think you can actually still buy it though. DDT, and I'm sure probably the listeners who are a bit older, and I don't even like to say older, the listeners who have lived a longer life and have more experience and have experienced them themselves know that DDT used to be sprayed on all boys and girls, used to be sprayed all over things as a way to protect yourself from mosquitoes and things like that. But it's been proven that's very not good for you. It's very harmful for your body. You look at cigarettes. They used to say cigarettes are safe for pregnant women, when they're not safe for a pregnant woman at all. They're not safe for anyone. There was a whole thing talking about how cigarettes are healthy for you. Doctors were promoting it, right? There's so much stuff being pushed out into the public. You can just keep going on and on. And one that I touched on already is the injections. They say they're safe and effective. They say they provide immunity when in all reality they don't do anything. They poison your body. They weaken your immune system. And unfortunately, they do not help. I know there may be some disagreements to this, but if you go look back at the data, you can very clearly see that all the major diseases, polio and mumps and measles and all those things, they all declined before the before the injections were ever introduced. And the reason I'm trying to avoid that is because the system of control is going to try to censor me if I say the word that should not be spoken. Oh my gosh, ridiculous. Another part of the system of control, right? They have it built into the technology so that if you speak up against the system, they try to take you down. Like YouTube has already given me a strike for talking about 14 reasons not to trust the science in one of my other podcasts. So that podcast is not even on YouTube anymore. It's on Rumble. I'll put the link down to it below if you guys are interested in watching that, because that's a pretty good one too. That talks more into detail about a lot of these things that our system talks about that's healthy, that's safe for you, but it's really not healthy or safe for you. So I don't want to go too much into that because that could be a whole different podcast by itself, which is actually technically is already a whole other podcast. But I think you guys get my point, right? All these things they're saying is safe for you. These government agencies are saying that these things are safe for you, that this is the way to protect your family, protect your loved ones, to live the longest life possible. When in all reality, they're not doing anything to protect us. These things are being put into our water supplies. Look at fluoride. Fluoride has been proven to lower your IQ, to cause cancers. There's back in 1936, there's this doctor named Dr. Dean Burke who talks about how putting fluoride into the water system is essentially equivalent to mass murder. And I'll put the link down below because it's really quite surprising. That was back in 1930. We knew this information, but yet it's still being done, still being put in the water supply. I know in Columbia, South Carolina, where I am, they have it in the water supply. I know in Colorado, where I used to live there, they had it in the water supply. I know in Tennessee, they had it in the water supply. Um, so the way to know if what's in your water supply, you type in your city's name, type in your city's name, and then water supply. You can see all the things they add to the water supply: chlorine, fluoride. None of that's healthy for you. None of that's safe for you. And then not to mention all the things that don't get actually filtered out of your water supply. If you're just drinking plain tap water, I have news for you. Um, you're not drinking very healthy water. And so something I recommend doing is getting at least a filter that can filter out fluoride. If you can filter out fluoride, usually it's going to filter out most things. I personally use a filter that gets out the chlorine and gets out some other contaminants. And then I actually distill my water, which gets out everything that that filter I use doesn't get out. Essentially, you know, distilling it is just boiling it and then having it condensed down into a different container. So everything that can't get boiled out or everything that doesn't evaporate gets left behind. And that's usually fluoride and some other things, some very like heavy metals and probably glyphosate and other chemicals like that, right? So I drank distilled water, so I make sure it's 100% pure. Then I maybe add a little bit of Celtic sea salt to add some material, some minerals back into it if I feel like I need to that day. Sometimes I just drink the straight distilled water. And it's really important that you put high quality things into your body. It's one of the ways you can break free from the system of control. It's one of the ways that you can take back your health and make sure that you're a strong, healthy individual, which is important to do if you want to be able to create your best life, if you want to be able to overcome self-sabotage, and if you want to be able to break free from this matrix. So we want to look next at the entertainment system and technology, because with these advancements in technology, with these cell phones in everyone's hands, with the TVs in every room, mounted on the walls and these big screens, there's a lot, and people sitting at computers all day, you know, myself included. It's important to understand how this technology affects us, because it really does affect us, and it really can program us, like I talked about before, through the subconscious mind, the 11 million pieces of information it's pulling in, trying to determine what's the safest thing to do. It's doing that with technology as well, because this part of your mind does not understand what is reality, what is fiction, meaning that everything, it's just absorbing everything and determining what's the safest thing to do based on what it sees. So if you look at a lot of these movies, you know, you can see a lot of these movies, like Adam Sandler movies, Will Ferrell movies, just a lot of movies in general. They have a lot of alcohol. They have a lot of cheating and broken relationships. They have a lot of caffeine and drug abuse. They have a lot of just horrible, broken people, that sometimes, yeah, sometimes it makes it more interesting. But the problem is, and this is why I think we should be taught this information when we're kids, is because this information directly influences us. And our subconscious mind sees these things and then it wants to mimic them out. It wants to say, hey, this is actually our society. And if I'm not acting like these people within these TV shows and these movies, then I'm not going to be fitting in. And so there's no wonder why so many of us have shit shows for life, and we are very sick and diseased, and we're living paycheck to paycheck, and we're feeling frustrated, and we're having fights with our spouses, and we're getting high and drunk every single day, and we're eating the Coca-Cola or drinking the Coca-Cola and eating the Doritos and picking out on McDonald's and treating our bodies like a garbage compactor because we are being programmed to do so. Everyone knows that you should be eating healthy. Everyone knows that alcohol is not good for you. Everyone knows that cigarettes are not good for you. But we do these things anyways. Have you ever wondered why? Consciously, we know these things. Subconsciously, maybe even we know them. But subconsciously, your subconscious mind doesn't care. This part of your mind, like I said, is not rational. It's just operating off the data points of what everyone else is doing. And so even when you have these goals of eating healthier, of stopping to drink, of choosing never dating someone like that again, and you go up and date another abusive person, right? From breaking free from your 9-to-5 job, you end up going back into these things. You end up staying in these things for a long time. You end up taking one step forward and two steps back. And that's what another part of the system of control is. The system is inside all of us because we've all been programmed with the system. And the thing is, it's kind of ingenious. I think it's in a very dark and evil kind of way that they've used this part of our mind against ourselves. And that's why I think we all need to learn this information. That's why I teach this information in my podcast, on my social media pages, because once you know this information, you can use it to start to protect yourself, to protect your loved ones, and to reprogram yourself towards the life that you do want, which is a very powerful place to be. So when you're watching these TV shows, when you're watching these movies, when you're watching and listening to these songs and playing these video games, right? You're looking at social media and looking at all these memes. All these things are influencing you. So you need to be more consciously aware of what they're actually telling you. What are the things they're showing you? And unfortunately, you're not going to be able to pick up on everything, because if you look at just the numbers between the two parts of our mind, the conscious and the conscious mind only picks up about 40 pieces of information per second, meaning that a lot of this information that your subconscious is picking up on, your conscious mind is not, because it just doesn't have the same processing power. Doesn't mean you can't pick up on things that are programming you. It just means that you might be missing a decent amount of things. So really, I highly recommend starting to cut out as much TV out of your life as possible, as much movies out of your life as possible, as much social media channels out of your information as possible. And a way to do it is to start maybe replacing them with something better. And that's actually really important, to replace those negative things with something better, right? So cut out those TV shows about like cheating, like Grey's Anatomy. Cut out those TV shows about like people having shit show lives, like Shameless, right? Their life is literally like a daily shit show. You don't want to be programmed that way. Cut out the movies like Dirty Grandpa and Brothers, I think it is, or Step Brothers. Adam Sandler movies, pretty much any Adam Sandler movie. These movies are programming you towards your worst life, unfortunately. As funny as they may be sometimes, and obviously you can go back and decide to watch them, but be aware of how they're programming you, right? Because you can't protect your subconscious mind from these things. It's the way it works is it just absorbs all the information. And so the only way you can technically protect yourself is if you make sure that this information is less familiar than other information in your life. And the information that you want to be most familiar is information that's going to be making you healthier, information that's going to make you stronger, more confident, more successful, more loving, have better relationships, being able to create your own business, being more of an entrepreneur, right? To be able to be more critical, to think more critically, to be more consciously aware, right? So we start to replace these TV shows with podcasts, start to replace these TV shows with channels or documentaries that are talking about making yourself in your life better. And as you start to do this, you're going to start to realize and notice a big change in your life, because this is going to be how you start to reprogram your mind. Start to read books, start to put messages around your house so that you can reprogram yourself that way. So behind me, I have I am enough on my whiteboard. All around my room, I actually have different ways I'm programming myself, different ways I am using my subconscious mind for me instead of against me, right? So I will move my camera just so you guys can see briefly. Excuse me for it shaking, and for people on the podcast, obviously you're not gonna be able to see. Essentially what they are is word arts. So you can see here, I'm grounded in my adult power. I welcome wealth into my reality. I have an abundance of wealth. Life will always provide for me. On this other wall, I have up here, it says, I'm powerful, positive, and energetic. I am capable, I'm powerful, I'm determined. Bottom left, I have confident and clear in my purpose. I'm worthy of all that I want. On this wall, I have more of them, right? I have these littered throughout my house, meaning that I am programming myself. I am using my subconscious mind. I'm using that idea. I'm using this information that's used against me, that the system is using against me, for my own benefit. I'm actively breaking myself out of the matrix and I'm actually creating my own world, my own reality. And that's where I want you all to be able to go, is to start to create your own reality. And so if you're doing this, essentially you want to do this in as many areas in your life as possible, right? So don't only do it with the TV shows. Don't only do it with the movies. Don't only do it with the songs. Don't only do it with just the things you put on your house. Start to do it with your thoughts. What things are you thinking about? What things are you telling yourself? Are you telling yourself you're not good enough? Are you telling yourself you're not smart enough? Are you telling yourself you're too ugly? You're too fat? Are you telling yourself anything that's negative, right? You shouldn't be telling yourself these things, because you're literally creating that into reality. And what are you envisioning? Are you envisioning certain things like that are going to make you more fearful? Are you envisioning things that are bad that you think might happen? Or are you envisioning things like the life that you want? Are you envisioning you succeeding in something? Are you envisioning yourself moving forward and getting that job promotion? Are you envisioning yourself having an amazing date, right? We can use our imagination. We can use our envisioning powers to better our life or to worsen our life. And if we're not being consciously aware of how we're using it, likely, if we're just running subconsciously, we're gonna be using those in a bad way to reprogram ourselves even more. So it's very important you're aware of this. Now, why does this work? Because I told you guys at the beginning here, I'm referring this to quantum physics. And this is the perfect time to bring it in, because within quantum physics, there's an understanding that everything is made up of energy. And how do we know this? Well, before quantum physics, right, we knew that everything was made up of atoms. So essentially, we already knew everything was made up of the same stuff, that we're all made up of the same stuff. But what they found is that even below atoms, even below the protons, the neutrons, the electrons, there's something smaller. There are these quantum particles. What their names are doesn't really matter. You can look them up. There's some kind of weird names I don't remember personally, to tell you the truth. But the idea of them is really what is important. The idea is that they are energy vortexes. Essentially, they're just energy. That meaning that everything is made up of energy, meaning that I'm made up of energy, the screen is made up of energy, that light coming down on me is energy, the words coming out of my mouth is energy, the when you're envisioning something, that's energy, meaning that nothing is different, meaning that when you're thinking or speaking, you're actually creating something. Because if the words coming out of my mouth is the same energy as what I'm made of, then that means that it's also something that is in this reality, right? So we are literally creators. We are literally able to create reality with the things that we say, with the words that we think, or so with with the words that we say, the things that we think, the way we use our vision, our envisioning powers to create our own reality, right? The things that we listen to, the things that we watch. And something even more, when we listen or watch to something, you need to understand that there's a part within your subconscious mind. We also have these things called mirrored neurons. These mirrored neurons make it so that we can experience something without even doing it. So they've proven that these mirrored neurons make it so, let's say you're watching soccer on the television. The mirrored neurons in your brain are envisioning yourself playing that soccer, meaning that you actually are playing that soccer within your mind. And your mind is lighting up the same exact way as if you were playing soccer yourself, meaning that we get that fix just from watching something. And so if you're watching someone, destroy their lives, you are doing the same thing within your life, and you're learning that muscle memory, right? And it's very important you understand this, is that we are programming ourselves every single day, every single moment of every single day. So it's very important you start to become more aware of how you're programming yourself, because that's really what they don't want you to know. And that's why they're not teaching you this in school, like I think they should be. Obviously, there's a reason why, and you guys know my reason for that. They're not teaching it to us to this in school. And so we are left defenseless, and we are unaware of how this is actually working. But now that you know this is how your mind works, now this is how the system is working, you can protect yourself. It's very important you do, and you choose to be that person who's actively trying to break free from the matrix. And of course, if you need any help, I think asking for help is an amazing way to speed up your um, escape from the matrix, and just speed up your self development and becoming more consciously aware. For me, every time I've reached out to someone, first it was Paul Chek. Paul Chek is an amazing health coach, an amazing holistic master who created his own school. People told him he couldn't open his own school, that he wasn't a doctor, that he wasn't a teacher, and he went and created his own school. It's now international. It's in California. It's in Toronto. It's in the UK someplace, right? It is teaching billions of people how to become more aware of their health holistically, and to be, aware of the mind, body, spirit connection. This book behind me, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy, highly recommend, from Paul Chek. It is an amazing book that just will teach you so much about your health. And just, if you want to learn more about building your health, taking control of your health, start with this book. I'll put it in the description down below, so if you can't remember it, you don't have to. You can just look down in the description. But yeah, Paul Chek taught me so much about health, and actually started a lot of my journey becoming more aware of what's going on, because I think really the foundation to breaking free from the matrix and to overcoming self-sabotage, which really self-sabotage occurs because we're stuck in this matrix, is to get yourself healthy. Because if you're not healthy, your mind's not going to be operating efficiently. If you're not healthy, you're going to be weak, you're being disempowered, you have low energy, and it's going to be much harder to start to break free, to protect yourself and be more consciously aware. So get healthy, cut out the drugs, cut out the alcohol, cut out the caffeine, cut out the Doritos and the junk food and the sodas and the alcohol and all that crap. You don't need that in your life. And once you cut it out, you're going to feel so much better, have more energy, and you'll be more connected and become more aware of what's really going on. And then the next time I asked for help, I reached out to Jason Christoff. If you don't know who he is the master self-sabotage coach, where he teaches people how to break free from the matrix, from mind control, and how to overcome self-sabotage. That's where I learned a lot of this information from. Actually, he should be having this so a couple things. One, I became a coach because of him. His school is opening up right now, so I highly recommend taking a look at that. I'll put the link down below so you guys can look at possibly becoming a coach as well. I'll help you learn this information more. Of course, you can always work with me as well if you want to learn this information more, or there's lots of information out there. But ask for help from someone. And two, I think he should be having a documentary coming out called Planet Mind Control, which will really be talking about all this matrix mind control as well. So I'm super excited for that documentary to come out, because it's going to be amazing. But I learned so much from him, and I boosted myself forward from breaking out of the matrix from working with him, right? So that was an amazing experience, and I'd go back and spend that money double over again to work with him again, and to work with Paul Chek again, because it really had changed my life, and so drastically, right? So much more than the investing in college, the thousands of dollars, and the investment I put into myself with these coaches was so minimal compared to my college experience. But I gained so much more out of it from working with these people, compared to wasting all my money and all my years of my time going to college, when it really didn't get me much. It just got me more programming, more stuck into the matrix. And looking back on it now, I was actually surprised. The one thing it did get me was I found my wife there. So I'm very grateful for that, because she is very helpful in me breaking free of the matrix. She's supportive. She's going through that escape from the matrix with me. We plan it out together. We talk about it. We both are working on becoming our best selves. And I love that about my relationship. And I know that anyone out there listening who's looking for the same thing, you can find it. Be confident that you can find it, envision it, use these ideas I'm teaching you now to create that reality for yourself. Once again, we're all creators, right? We're all connected to this divine energy within us. And I say divine energy because this divine energy, if you believe in a creator like God or whatever, he's likely made up of the same exact energy, meaning that he created us with this energy with himself. So we are part of God, right? he gave us that ability to create our own reality. And so it's a shame not to use it. It's a shame not to even know about it. And that's really what they want. They don't want us connected to this idea that we are our own creators, that we are able to save ourselves and to be able to break free from this matrix. They want us to rely on someone else to get escape from this. They want us to feel weak and disempowered and helpless to what's going on. When in all reality, we all have that ability to change what's going on, first in our lives and then in all the lives around us. And it can really be that simple. Once you start to become aware of this information, you're going to start to notice more and more and more. Every day I notice more ways that are controlling us through the words that we speak. So some examples of verbal self-sabotage. And I did a whole podcast about this. So, highly recommend checking out the power of words. I've done a couple different power of words ones, but a couple different examples, right? Think about when you're working on the week, right? What is that really saying? The week. English language is so interesting because there's so many meanings, double meanings, triple meanings for words that all sound the exact same. So we're saying we're working week. This is the work week. We're working week. WEAK. We're weak. Then we are weakened on the weekend, right? We are weakened. We are weakened after the week. We are in the morning. We're saying good morning. What's a morning? It is mourning someone's death. What is waking up? It's what's awake. Awake is another term for death, right? It's really interesting how all these things coincide, and we say these things all the time. Oh, I'm waking up still. Oh, I'm good morning, right? It's really interesting how these things work, and there's so much word magic going on, right? There's a lot of ways we're giving away our power with word magic, right? Saying, that you make me feel, this is so common. You make me feel this way. You make me feel that way. No one can make you feel any way unless you allow them to. Because now that you know that you're your own conscious creator, you can realize that you don't give away that power, or they can't take that from you. You're giving away your power to them so you feel that way, right? You can say, I feel this way, because you're choosing to feel that way when they're saying something to you. Just like if someone says something to you and you don't even know who they are, you can brush it off. You can say, whatever, I don't even know who you are. Get out of my life. And you walk away and not feel nearly as upset as if someone who you know said something, right? Because you're choosing to let that in. You're choosing to let it hurt you because you have feelings for that person. So it's very interesting to think about. But like I said, that's a whole nother podcast. I don't want to go too much into it because otherwise this is going to be a very long podcast. But the words that you say are very important to be aware of. Try to focus on what you want. Try to focus in detail on what you want. Focus as if you have it in the now, in the present. Say, I am healthy, instead of saying I don't want, I'm not fat, or whatever it is. Focus on what you do want and focus as if you have it right now. That's a really important tip. And then believe that you have it right now. And if you have a hard time doing that, if you feel like you're lying to yourself, say every day I'm working on building my strength. Every day I'm building my strength, right? Then you may not feel like you're lying to yourself because you are building your strength. Focus on then taking actions to build your strength and watch as your strength builds and builds, right? But these are examples of this information, right? Once you learn how to break free from the system, you can give up alcohol. I've been alcohol free for 4 years. You can start to eat healthier. I haven't ate any fast food restaurants for a long time. I don't eat junk food. I don't eat Doritos. I don't drink sodas. I don't drink any coffee, right? I don't put these things in my body because I know they're bad for me. I don't put any nicotine or any vape sticks or anything like that in my body, right? I'm very aware of what I put into my body. I'm not drinking tap water. I'm drinking water, right? I'm also drinking some nice organic coconut water, right? I'm drinking something that's going to be making myself healthier, and I'm creating my own reality doing so. So how can you start to take this back? Well, you need to start to question things more. You start to become more aware. When you go out to the grocery store, look at the ingredients list on the back of whatever you're buying. If you don't know what something is, look it up before you buy it. And if you still can't figure out what it is, don't buy it until you know, right? All these things with all these different long lists of ingredients, a lot of that stuff is just terrible for your body. A lot of that stuff shouldn't be in our food, but yet it is. For instance, did you know if you go buy some pickles, look at the ingredients list before you buy it. There's going to be yellow 5. There's going to be some kind of food dye in there. You don't need that food dye in your food. That's just, they've been proven those food dyes are all toxic, poisonous crap for you. And it's not good for you, right? On top of, most of those products are not going to be organic, meaning they're going to be highly sprayed in pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides. That's a whole nother point, but start to become more aware of what's in your food, what the things that you're putting onto and into your body, both through your mind and through in your digestive system and onto your skin, right? Your skin absorbs things. Are you filtering your shower water? What kind of toothpaste are you putting in your mouth? Are you putting fluoride toothpaste in your mouth, right? Start to think about these things more. Start to become more consciously aware. Don't let this get overwhelming. Think of it as a fun way to challenge yourself and to break free from the system. And every time you could do something or know something new, like, yeah, that's awesome. I just noticed this new thing. Now I can tackle this. Now I can change this as well. And what you might notice that you might be sabotaging yourself along the way. You might find yourself trying to stop drinking alcohol and going back to it. And that's because the way your subconscious mind works, right? It just tries to go down the path of that's most familiar to you. And so it's really important you start to work on reprogramming your subconscious mind by cutting out those negative influences out of your life and adding in new positive influences. So start to do these sorts of things, and you start to notice a major change in your life. You can look at things like doing affirmations, which is really just saying positive things to yourself every single day. You can start to do things like vision boards, or like these wall arts that I showed you guys earlier, right? Put messages on your house, write sticky notes, do it however you need to do it, right? Change some of your passwords to affirmations, like saying, I am healthy, I am successful. Now, obviously make sure it's more difficult than just I am healthy or I'm successful. Put in like add signs instead of A's, or do something special with it to make it so it's more unique so people can't guess it very easily. But make it so that every time you type in your password, you're creating something that's good into your life, right? It's another pro tip, right? Start to become more aware of all these things, and you start to realize that, hey, I am the creator of my own reality. Hey, this is making a big difference in my life. This is changing my life on a drastic level. And how do I know it changes your life on a drastic level? Well, I've personally done all these things. I've personally seen the effect it's happened in my life. Like, when I look back and think about how I used to be so scared of doing public speaking, I used to, if you would have asked me 4 years, maybe 3 years ago, if I'd be up here making podcasts, speaking to people, coaching them, making programs and making episodes and making YouTube videos and all those things, I would have laughed at you. I would have been like, yeah, right. Because I didn't believe in myself. I created that reality in my life. I was programmed through the system that I'm not good at those things. And I never had that encouragement to do it, right? I had public speaking class, but those things did not help me. Those experiences made it worse. And it's really important to address that and to realize that, hey, you are in control. And not only me, but like I said, from learning from Paul Chek and from Jason Kristoff, I've seen how many people are changing their lives with this information, are literally drastically changing their lives, healing and addressing so many diseases and traumas and limiting beliefs and programs within their lives, that they've been able to do a 180. They've been able to get to places in their life they never thought they'd be able to get. They've been able to overcome self-sabotage and start to live the life that they want to be living. They've been able to defeat their depression and address their anxieties, right? And I'm very, very positive this information can do the same thing for your life if you start to apply it to your life. And that's the key point. You can take this information and just go and do nothing with it, and then watch your life continue to be the same, continue to get worse, because you're not actively protecting yourself. You're not actively creating your own reality. Instead, take this information, Become more aware. Start to cut out those negative influences. Start to create new influences for yourself that are more in line with the life that you want. And you'll start to watch your reality change in front of your eyes. Obviously, while you're doing this, you want to take actions towards that life you want. Pair it together, action and conscious awareness, and you're going to watch your life change. Consciously being aware of your thoughts, saying new, better thoughts, being aware of what visions come into your head, and creating and thinking about new visions, thinking about yourself living on that farmland that you want, thinking about yourself living or doing whatever job it may want to be. Think about yourself with your family, playing in the sun, playing in the lake, or doing whatever you want to be doing. Envision those things. Think about them daily as if they're present now. Feel yourself in those moments as if they're real, right? Really use your mind to, and this is part of like meditation and things like that. Use your mind to envision yourself there. Envision yourself there. Hear the sounds of the birds. Feel the sun on your arms. Feel that breeze of the ocean breeze, right? Whatever it may be, you can envision all these things, and you can use these things to make them more and more and more real and make them more cemented into reality. So if you guys, and that's really covers up the whole podcast, right? So if you guys liked this podcast, I really would appreciate a like, a comment, a share, a follow, a subscribe. It helps me so much get this word out to other people, and it also helps me continue to do more content like this, because just like you guys, I'm assuming you guys all want to break free from the matrix, break free from your 9-to-5 job, and support your families doing so. That's one of my goals, and just a simple like, a simple follow, a simple comment can help me do that as well. If you guys want help and assistance doing so, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I help people do this kind of work every single day, break free from the matrix, become more consciously aware, take back their health, apply all these principles to your life so that you can really start to make changes in your life. You can start to break free from that matrix of control, the whole system control grid that so many people are under the spell. There's a way to break free from it. And I'm very confident I can get you there. Or I can get you information for, someone else who may be able to help you. If you don't want to work with me, that's totally fine, not offended. But I ask for help, get the help that you need, because it's very, very important that you start to break free, because once you break free, you can start to help more people break free. And the more of us that break free, the more that this system starts to crumble, just like we've seen in the past couple of years. It's starting to crumble more and more. They're starting to get more and more, obvious with what's going on. And that means more and more people are going to start waking up. So it's just a matter of time. So stay positive, guys. Continue making moves forward, and let's connect, because the more we connect, remember, we're all the same beings. We're all made of the same energy. The more that we connect, the stronger we all get. The more we can create together. We can actually consciously create this reality together. And the more of us that are thinking this way and working this way and manifesting this way, the more of us that are going to be creating this new reality instead of this matrix system that we live in. So anyways, my name is Tanner. You guys have been listening to Self-Sabotage Solutions. We just talked about the matrix of control that our system, that our society is stuck in. And I hope you all have a good rest of your day. Get out there, start reprogramming yourself, start breaking free from that matrix of control. And like I said, don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you, guys.